Hello friends, welcome to my channel, myself Parag Jambulkar. If we want to learn any new programming language, few things we have to learn. For example, data types which are provided by that programming language. Control structure, for example, conditional statements, looping statements. And if that programming language is object-oriented programming language, in that case, how that object-oriented features are implemented by that programming language, that also we have to learn. Object-oriented features in the sense polymorphism, inheritance, classes, encapsulation, everything. In this video, we'll see one important thing. What are the primitive data types? Those are provided by Apex programming language. When we say primitive data types, so what do you mean by primitive data types? Primitive data types are the basic data types provided by that programming language. And there is one special thing that these data types cannot be defined in terms of other data types. One simple example. In C++ language, we have int, float, char. So these are the basic data types and they have their own values. They cannot be explained in terms of other values. And what do you mean by derived or structured data types? So data types which can be defined in terms of other data types, those are called like derived or structured data types. For example, class, array, structure, all these are the derived or structured data types, right? Now see. So in this video, we'll see what are the primitive data types. Those are provided by Apex programming language. Now see. When we are defining any variable, we have to follow this syntax, right? So this is data type, then this is variable name, and this is literal. Literal means any constant value, right? For example, see. So in Apex, we have data type integer, x is variable name, and we are assigning value 3, right? So likewise, we can define any variable. And when we are defining any variable, at the time, some memory is allocated to that variable, depends on its data type. Now see, in Apex programming language for integers we have two data types. One is integer and another is long. See, in C++ and Java language we use int, right? But here in Apex programming language, data type is integer completely. This complete word we have to write integer, and another is long. What is the difference among this integer and long? So see, that I have told, it is used to save integer values just like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, minus 3, likewise. Variable occupies 32-bit memory. 32-bit memory means 4 bytes, right? So variable occupies 32-bit memory or 4 bytes memory. Its range can be minus 2 to the power 31 to 2 to the power 31 minus 1. So on positive side, this is the maximum value. On negative side, this is the least value or minimum value. Now see, why 31? Variable occupies 32-bit, but why here is 31? Because 1 bit is reserved for the negative sign, right? Because of that, it is 31, right? On positive side, this is the maximum value, and on negative side, this is the minimum value, least possible value, right? Now see, second is long. So it is used to save integer value, just like integer data type. For integer, it occupies 32-bit memory, right? For long, it occupies 64-bit memory. 64-bit memory means 8 bytes. And again, range will be like this only, right? So it is 64-bit. So here we have to mention 63 because 1 bit will be reserved for the negative side. Negative side, this is the least value, and on positive side, this is the maximum possible value. Now see, for decimal point values or floating point values, in Apex we have two data types. One is double and another is decimal. See, in C and C++ language we have float, double, right? Float is not supported by the Apex programming language. Keep in mind, float is not supported by the Apex programming language. It can be used in C++ or Java. But for Apex programming language, for floating point values, for decimal point values, we have two data types. One is double and another is decimal. Now see, we'll see some features. Double, it is used to save decimal point values. For example, 3.2, 5.6, 4.3, minus 4.3, likewise. Variable occupies 64-bit memory, and this is the maximum possible value, and this is the least possible value. Now see, for decimal, again it is used to save decimal point values. For example, 3.2, minus 3.2, 4.6, likewise. And see, for double, it occupies 64-bit memory, but for decimal, decimals have no bounds and can grow to any size. Okay, there is no bound, there is no restriction on the decimal variables. So these are the floating point data types, double and decimal. So in Apex, for integer we have two data types, integer and long. And for floating point values or decimal point values, we have double and decimal. Now see, we'll see next data type, string. So from the name only we'll come to know it is used to save string value, right? Likewise, hello world, this is one string, right? One important thing here, value should be enclosed in single quote. See, just like here, my name, Parag Zambulkar, I have enclosed in single quote. See, in C++ and Java language, we enclose a string in double quote, right? And character in single quote. But here in Apex programming language, whether it is a character or a string, okay, we have to enclose it in single quote, just like this. Next data type, Boolean. So again, from the name only we will come to know it is used to save Boolean values. So what are the possible values? Only two, right? True or false. Now see, there are some data types which are unique to Apex programming language, just like date, time, blob, ID. Normally, programming languages that we use, they don't have this kind of data types, right? But Apex programming language provides this data type. Now see, we'll see for what purpose these are used. Date data type, it is used to save date. From the name only it is clear. Time, it is used to save time. Date time, it is used to save date and time, both together, date and time. Date will be in terms of year, month, day. Time will be in terms of hour, minute, second, right? Date time is combination of both date and time. Just after this we'll see one program for all the data types. From that it will be clear. One more important data type, blob. Normally in database we use such kind of data type, right? So same blob data type you can use in Apex programming language. So it saves data in terms of binary. So it can have data in terms of zeros and ones. This data type is used to save any image, audio or multimedia file. Just like how we use blob data type in database, in the same way in Apex programming language we can use this blob data type to save any image, audio or multimedia file. Then there is one more data type, ID. So see, it is used to save Salesforce record ID. So see, record means one row in table, right? So to save record ID, we can use this ID, or object ID. Object means table, right? To save object ID or any other ID which is used as a metadata. So to save any kind of ID, we can use this ID data type. Now see, it can be of 15 digits or it can be of 18 digits. Now what is the difference between 15 digit ID and 18 digit ID? Now see, 15 digit ID is case sensitive. That means capital letter and lowercase letter both have the different meaning. But 18 digit is case insensitive ID. Okay, so here capital letter and small letter both have the same meaning. If you allocate 15 digit ID, then it get automatically converted to 18 digit ID. So if you are allocating 15 digit ID to any variable, so automatically it get converted to 18 digit ID. So in program we'll see that. One important thing, if you are not assigning any value to variable, then by default its value is set to null. So if you are not assigning any value, so by default it is null. Okay, now we'll see program for this. So here I have written one simple example. So see, here I have defined one class with the name data types, and here I have defined all these variables of all data types. Now see, integer, long, double, decimal, string, boolean, date time, blob and ID. Now see, so this is our data type, this is our variable name and one value that we are assigning, right? So integer value, this is long value, right? So already we have seen integer and long, these data types are used to save integer value. Now see, in some programs you may see this capital L or small l. So basically it is used to represent that long number. So we can have this capital L or small l to represent it is a long value. This case insensitive language. So see, if I write capital L or small l, both have the same meaning. Now see, we have seen double and decimal. These are the two data types which is used for the decimal point values, right? So here I have defined one double variable. This is variable name and this is a value that I have assigned. One more variable with decimal data type, variable name, some value. Then we have string data type to save string, right? So E is a variable name and here Parag Zambulkar, that is a string name, right? And we are enclosing it with the single quote, right? We are enclosing it with single quote. So next data type is Boolean. So only two values are possible, right? True or false. Now see, For integer, long, double, decimal, string, boolean, directly we have allocated the values, right? But for date we cannot allocate direct value. We have to take help of this function. So how we can do? See, so public, it is our access modifier, right? Here we are mentioning inside the class, that's why we have mentioned. Now see, date. Okay, suppose I am taking one example like this, is equal to. Now see, date dot. So here we are getting list of the method which is provided by this class, right? So see, new instance. So here it is showing, see, year, month, day. So see, I am taking from here, and here you can mention year, just like here we have mentioned 2022, month and day. So likewise you can define any date. So here I have defined variable g and I have allocated this date. In the same way we have time data type, and we can allocate time like this, right? So again we are calling method new instance. Here you can see public time years is equal to time. You can write T capital or small because Salesforce is case insensitive language. You can see new instance. Here you can see hour, minute, second and millisecond, right? So here you can mention hour, minute, second, millisecond. So see, here we have mentioned hour 6, minute 30, second 32, millisecond 5. So likewise you can define time. Now see, we have date time. So date time is a combination of date and time. So again in the same way, for example, see, public date time. Suppose I am taking variable I is equal to date time dot new instance. So all these are the different options. You can choose any format. So for example, we are choosing this format, right? G is date variable and years is time variable. Okay, so that here we have mentioned. Okay, now see blob. So already we have seen blob data type. It is used to save any image, audio file or any multimedia file, right? Here what we have done, this is string value and that we have converted to the blob data type. So by using function value of, we have converted this string into the blob data type. Then we have taken one id and we have allocated this id, right? So see, our id is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15, right? So it is 15 digit, right? So already we have seen, if we are allocating 15 digit id, so it get automatically converted to the 18 digit id. Okay, so we'll run this code and we'll see. Then in this class I have written this show method, and here we are printing value of everything. Okay, now see, we'll run this code. So debug, open, execute anonymous window. So see, here already I have written code. I am creating object of this class data types, and then I am calling the show method, right? So we'll execute this program. So no compilation error. We'll see output. Okay, so see, integer value 3, long value 5, double value 3.2, decimal value 5.7, string value per example, boolean value true, date value in terms of year, month and day, time value in terms of hour, minute, second and millisecond, date time value in terms of both date and time. Then blob value, basically blob data type is used to save multimedia files, right? But here we have allocated string value, that's why it is showing result like this. But basically blob data type, it is used to save any multimedia file. Then we have id. In program we have allocated 15 digit id, right? When we run this code, 18 digit id is get assigned to id variable. So in this way we have different primitive data types in Apex programming language. So friends, I hope you like this video. If yes, then click on like, subscribe to the channel and don't forget to press bell icon so that you will get notification of my next video. So stay connected. Thank you.